You've probably felt this before. You're talking to someone about something totally normal, nothing serious, nothing emotional, and the conversation is moving along just fine. And then suddenly, one sentence lands in a way you didn't expect. Not wrong, not rude, just a little off. A small pause, a strange tone, a reply that takes the air out of the moment. Nothing dramatic, but enough to make you think. Wait, why did that feel weird? And then you move on because life keeps going. But that tiny mismatch, that soft, almost invisible glitch, is actually one of the most important things happening in your social world. Here's the part we don't usually notice. Before the other person even opens their mouth, your mind has already made a quiet prediction of how this conversation is supposed to go. You don't think about it. You don't choose it. It just happens. Social psychologists call these expectations basically the little internal guesses that help you move through social life without getting overwhelmed. And scholars like Cristina Bicchieri point out that these expectations come in two flavors: what we think people usually do and what we think people believe we should do. Put simply, you're always carrying a tiny script in your head, a sense of how this normally goes. And you only ever notice that script when the other person doesn't follow it. That off feeling? That's your script showing itself. Sociologists have studied these moments for decades because they reveal something big. Our whole social world runs on shared expectations. Harold Garfinkel famously showed this with what he called breaching experiments. He'd have people break tiny unspoken social rules, stuff you, and I would never question, and the result was instant awkward chaos. Why? Because everyday interaction depends on a whole set of silent assumptions that we don't even know we're making. Erving Goffman added to this by arguing that every situation we walk into, a meeting, a classroom, even a casual chat, comes with an invisible set of expectations about how people are supposed to act. Not rules, not laws, just the vibe of the situation, the shared understanding of how we do things here. When expectations line up, the world feels smooth, predictable, easy. When they don't, suddenly, someone seems blunt, someone seems distant, someone seems emotional, someone seems off. But often, none of that is actually true. It's just two people using two different sets of expectations. And because expectations usually operate silently, we feel the effect before we ever understand the cause. So let's go back to that tiny weird moment you've definitely had before. Instead of thinking, did I say something wrong? Or why are they being weird? Try this interpretation. Maybe we weren't using the same script. Maybe you thought the conversation was about facts, and they thought it was about feelings. Maybe you were speaking casually, and they assumed it was a serious moment. Maybe your sense of politeness comes from one environment, and theirs comes from a completely different one. This isn't about someone having a bad personality. It's not about you being unclear. And it's not about them being rude. It's simply different expectation systems quietly bumping into each other. And once you see that, those awkward little misfires don't feel nearly as heavy. They become understandable, sometimes even a little funny, human in a gentle way. You don't need to fix the conversation. You don't need to decode hidden meanings. You don't need to take it personally. Just recognizing our internal maps weren't aligned can relax the whole moment. So the next time a conversation dips into that strange, quiet awkwardness, don't assume the worst. Just let this thought sit with you. Maybe we were following different expectations. Nothing dramatic, nothing philosophical. Just one of those tiny human things that starts to make more sense once you know it's there. And honestly, that's enough.